This is Robert Clinkybeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing business content from accomplished leaders to bring you value, scale your business, and better yourself personally. We hope you really enjoy the show, and I encourage you to share with your network so they can subscribe and we can expand these messages globally. We are also super excited to be supported by two brilliant sponsors. If you're tired of measuring properties, Site Recon platform fully automates measurements so you can focus on sales. So think measurements, think Site Recon. The other sponsor is CompanyCam, who make it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field no matter where you are. CompanyCam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy to use app for you and your entire team. CompanyCam is the only app every landscaper needs. Check it out. Hi, this is Robert Clinkybeard with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. I am super excited to be joined today by Luke Hansen. Luke Hansen is the founder and CEO of CompanyCam. So thank you, Luke, for joining me today.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear about I was reading your LinkedIn profile, and looks as though you've done some marketing director for White Castle Roofing. You've worked in assistant for a teacher, hanging out with a bunch of 8-year-old kids. Sounds like some really fun stuff. So I'd love to hear about your entrepreneurial journey to where you're at today.
Absolutely. I'll try to go through it. So I'm from Nebraska, which it's in the middle. Most people, know where it is, but growing up, my dad owned a roofing company. And so he was working pretty hard. And then when I got to be, 13 years old, 12, 13, 14, that area, I started working for him, helping kind of clean up the ground, helping, like tearing off shingles off of roofs, kind of doing all of that kind of stuff. And did that off and on and through college. Quit college, went back to college. And I mostly worked for my dad in this roofing company. I've done every job in that, from doing the work to, graduating to, getting to actually nail down the shingles. That was a real promotion.
Nice.
To selling, marketing, everything along the way. And, in between, I almost had to give my dad like an annual commitment that I would stay, because I was never really, I was never super committed to the long term. I mean, I believed in the business, and my dad was great to work for, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a career. I wasn't sure that I wanted to stay in that business. So, and I tended, I would travel in Central America. My wife and I lived in Spain. I lived in New York City for a while. I just I'm a little bit of a itinerant person.
Like a nomad almost?
Yeah, exactly. A little bit nomadic. I'm kind of ready to move sometimes. And, but I kind of always came back to it, and about, I would say 2014, 2015, I got put in charge of managing our kind of like exteriors, like gutter and siding division of this roofing company. And, we were already trying to document our projects by taking photos when we were estimating it, so we could plan how we were going to do the job, make sure we estimated it properly, cover our butt so that we had good documentation. But the problem was we never could find it. It would be on someone's phone, or it would be saved. They would put it in the wrong spot of the Dropbox. And it just got to be this real headache. And I remember having to drive an hour there and back to this job to figure out what the color of the gutters were, because we had lost the photo that, and it didn't get written down properly. And I was like, why are we like, couldn't we have a way to capture this information and organize it? We're all carrying around these cameras with GPS and supercomputers connected to them. We should be able to get ourselves organized. And so I had the idea for our company called CompanyCam, which is about helping contractors capture information in the field, have it automatically organized, and then put it to work in their internal communication and external communication. So I feel like I had a lot of ideas before that one. I mean, I kind of hustled. I remember trying to sell season passes at Copper Mountain ski resort, like buy them in bulk and sell them later for a profit.
Right.
I kind of like off and on had some of these like kind of entrepreneurial ideas, and I have a lot of ideas. Like I find myself having too many ideas and needing to focus on like
Right.
the important path that I
typical
like
entrepreneur.
Yeah. But this one, I just remember thinking it was nagging, and I was looking around for some solution and trying to figure out who else, because I was like, this is obvious. Someone's doing this. Like, I know we have this problem. I talked to the guy doing basement waterproofing. He has this problem. Talked to the landscaping company. They're having the same problem. And it's all around this, like, getting the information, getting it organized, and having it sort of available for accountability, for communication, and all of that. And finally, I thought, well, let's just do it. No one's doing it. It seems like a good idea. And I was able to convince my dad to basically fund the initial version of building the software, because I don't write code.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I mean, do you have like a IT technical background? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs have tons of ideas, and their heads are always spinning. But to actually make this stick, they must have had something there.
Yeah,
that's why I was wondering about it.
I studied mechanical engineering for a while. I ended up quitting that. I remember thinking one day walking to class, it was like sometime late in my junior year. I remember thinking, if I had to do this every day for the rest of my life, I would just stop now. Like, what am I, like, I don't want to be solving all these math problems every day, though in general, when you kind of an analytical type of person, it makes sense. And I like the problem solving element of engineering. Right. But I realized that the kind of monotony, or the like sitting at your desk working all day, really wasn't for me. I'm like super extroverted. I love being around people and that kind of thing. And so I always have felt like machines, things like make a lot of sense to me, and I like them. And like with an app, like, it's funny. I think I have a lot of patience with people, and I have an incredibly low amount of patience with technology. Like, if the computer isn't working right, I'm like, this piece of God, I'm like yelling at it. Whereas like if a person's bothering me, I'm able to be like, hey, what's going on?
Like calm, right?
Yeah. So, but that being said, I mean, honestly, the real benefit was the fact that we had a roofing company that was basically successful. It was a successful company. And I was able to, I unilaterally just hired a development shop to build the V1 of this. Spent about, at the time, I want to say I committed to spending about 20 grand. And I kind of went with the ask forgiveness versus permission angle. Okay. And then we kind of saw it coming together, we really all agreed. So I have two younger brothers. So they both run kind of different parts of this roofing operation, it's expanding. And my father, we're all partners in this business, CompanyCam, that we have now. But we all thought that it had real potential. We thought that we're solving a real problem that basically every contractor faces. And I say contractor in a sense, in the loose term, that if your work happens at a job site and not at the office, then we're kind of talking to you. A roofer, a plumber, a pool builder, a landscaper, a drywaller. There's very different elements of all those jobs, but they all have people working in the field. They need to communicate remotely about work that's being done. They need to be in the moment, able to see what the state of that work is. And then they need to have accountability for the quality of the work and like in the remote nature of it. And those problems are universal across all of these trades, in a sense. I agree 100%. So we believed that. And I mean, I think what turns out we were right. And it did work, but it was definitely a leap. And that's it's funny. I do a little mentoring thing at a local high school. It's like a one day a week, go and you kind of talk to get paired up with the kid and talk to him. And I was talking to this kid today. He's 14, and I was talking to him about how a lot of people are scared to fail, and their fear of something, of them really trying, really committing to something, and it falling apart, not working, it prevents them from acting. And I said, I've got two friends, one of them who's moving to Puerto Rico, who I watched his startup completely just fall apart. I mean, it didn't work, but then the stuff he learned in there, he was able to start the next thing, and he's doing great. Another one of my friends, I saw two businesses that he tried to start, just didn't work. They failed. And the third one, he raised $75 million
Wow, that's impressive.
over the last 3 weeks, and it's really, really working for him. And I was just telling this kid that it's like that you often learn a lot through failure, but it is painful. It's not fun. It's not glamorous. No one likes it when it doesn't work, and it will hurt your ego. But if you can be the type of person who gets up and goes again, it may not work on your first try, but I mean, if you're committed to it, it's usually going to work for you. Now, hopefully I'm not selling him a bill of goods here, but I really do feel like that.
True.
Like sometimes you just get it wrong. You don't know. And I mean, I think we're at least, hey, maybe I'm smarter than everyone, but honestly, I think we're kind of lucky. We're lucky that we got it right on the first try.
No,
sorry, I don't remember the question. I'm kind of off.
No, I mean, I think you're right though, because I have a saying that only good things happen on the other side of fear. And that fear is jumping into a business, and whether you successful or not, you're going to learn something on the other side of that. And I think you're right. A lot of people, and that's part of the reason why I asked the question, is that a lot of people will not make that jump. They might have the greatest idea in the world, but they've either got family commitments or they've got something else that's going on in their life that they prevents them from jumping into that fear factor. So huge credit off to you. So here you are. You've got a great idea. You've now got some money behind you through your dad's company. What was the next step for you? How did you start?
So I realized relatively, after that, a couple months in, that if this was going to be a successful long-term endeavor, that we needed employees. And we needed people that were in a sense committed to the long-term, that believed in it, that were because inherently, if you're contracting work out, that work can be done really well, but they're really interested in doing the work specified and not in sort of taking great care to the long-term potential. And so kind of hustled around, man. It's hard a lot of the kind of beginnings of starting your own thing is really just hustling. And I don't say that in kind of this trendy, like, oh yeah, hustle, but it's just like, how do you meet someone who knows how to code? And you got to talk them into working with you. You don't have anything, you have an idea, and unless you can make it happen. So it's kind of like initially you're selling early employees. So I sold our CTO, kind of our main engineer. I sold a guy I knew that was a really good designer, and really was like, kind of told him what I thought was possible, what we were doing. Hey, we can pay you a salary, and they were kind of willing to jump in and risk it. And so it did start slow because we had no idea what we were doing. I mean, we roughly knew what we were trying to build. And I think it is really important to understand the problem and they say this a lot, but to be connected more to the problem that you're solving than you are to your specific solution. And so I felt like I did, from having done the job, from knowing, my family owns this business, I felt like I had a good handle on the problem, which really helped. But, we launched in July of 2015, and really we were just very slowly signing up some companies here and there. Like we were not any sort of quick success, but like that's one thing you realize, especially in the software business, is that I think this is universal, but I'll just say it for us. Success tends to compound. You get some customers, they like it. Well, then they'll talk to some other people. You'll learn from them. You'll be able to make it a little better. Well, then you get more customers, and then that's more people that have the opportunity to tell someone else. It's like, I'm sure you run a good contracting, like a landscaping business at scale. Hey, your yard looks great. Hey, this is wonderful. Who did this hardscaping? Oh, it was, XYZ company. I think things that are good tend to grow. And then in our case, or I say in the case of a software business, the marginal costs of adding another company or a customer are almost zero. So like you run into these breakpoints, you hire a ton of people, and it all costs money, but it isn't it is relatively easy to scale because you don't have inventory, you don't have like a bunch of like sort of job specific labor, in the sense that if you don't have enough guys, you can't do the job. It's so all that to be said, we started to grow, and kind of it's been pretty steady, but then all of a sudden we are at 93 people right now off of 3 people in 2015.
Okay. That's awesome. That's
I
tremendous.
mean, yeah, and it's going really well. I'm still really excited about it. I think we're just getting started.
I
And
could
it's
tell.
like, the farther you go, the more you can see. At the beginning, I remember thinking, hey, if we could make $10,000 a month, we have a real business. We can pay this engineer, and have like a little bit of money left over. And that, like, the more, yeah, it's just the farther you get, it's almost like in a video game when you're exploring the map, and it's like everything's kind of black, and then you move around and you get that little area around your character where you can see the world.
Right.
That's how I feel like it is around a startup. At the beginning, you can't see very much, and you're kind of in the dark, and you're learning, and like there's still always that territory out there that's just outside of your kind of understanding. But the further you get down the road, the more you can see. And for me, that's been like almost the more optimistic I am, because I feel like I see just there's a lot of opportunity, and so I'm excited about it.
When you started, I mean, you obviously had a product. You started to go out and sell. I mean, were you knocking on people's doors? Were you focusing on a certain market segment? Was it all roofing contractors?
Yes, that's a good question. I was focused on a couple things. I mean, I was just hitting up some local people, calling people I knew, but mainly we were pushing into partnerships in the industry. So in this case, it was roofing. We focused on roofing. Excuse me. I had connections. I knew people in the manufacturing side and the distribution, and I just understood the problem I understood the roofing thing the best, and so that's where we went. But we really did a lot of like Facebook ads, and mostly Facebook. We would run ads. We would try to get people to sign up, and then we would try to get in touch with them. In fact, I don't even know how many of these we were calling. I did a lot of calling them or texting them at the beginning, but it was mainly kind of trying to do it from a marketing side. And then as we got connected in the industry a little better, that allowed us to go to some events and to kind of get in front of a bunch of other contractors. So, I was at I guess initially it was mostly roofing, but I've been to a handful of landscaping events back when they used to have events, though I think they're starting up again.
Yeah.
And that I couldn't, if you're getting into this business, it's never your best way of getting new customers is hardly ever going to be at one of these events, but you'll meet other people from the industry there. And in my case, for example, landscaping, I think I know roughly how it works, like but I also really don't know the ins and outs of these businesses. I don't quite understand the problems that a landscaping contractor is facing on a daily basis. Like, I can't tell the story that's relatable to everyone. And so going out to the event, talking to people, understanding how they're thinking about it, what the industry looks like, you have to know that stuff, and you have to be out. Especially if you're going to be the founder of a startup, you just have to be out meeting people, learning, and then bringing back that information to your company. Because I guess I want to say, if you're not, someone else will be. And things change. I mean, landscaping is probably different now than it was 5 years ago. And
how do you, because obviously, demands increase. I mean, we've seen a huge shift with the use of technology over the last 15, 16 months with COVID. So how do you keep your product up to date? How do you keep listening to your clients or prospects? I mean, do you have some type of a mechanism just to get that feedback?
So now we have a lot. So we have what are called product managers. And it's kind of the idea that they run a team of engineers and a designer, and they're talking to customers, they're talking to me, and we're kind of building stuff. So that they're kind of going out looking for customers that have certain problems. a lot of the feedback comes from we have what's called an inside sales team. We call them ISRs, inside sales reps. When we get a lead, meaning someone creates a free trial, we have a 2-week free trial, we are going to give you a call and we're going to try to get you onto a demo. So we're going to try to, because we want to show you the value. That the whole premise is, if you see the value, then you'll stick around, you'll become a customer, and it'll work great for you. You'll probably tell someone else about it. And, whereas if you don't see the value, no one pays for something they don't find valuable. So they learn a lot from talking to just prospects, especially. Then we have our support team, which does, it's mostly chat support. Like, we have it easy to chat us. And sometimes we'll do phone calls, but we're finding out, what don't people understand? What is frustrating? What is a bug? That kind of stuff. And then we're taking that information over to our product team. And then lastly, we have what's called a customer success team. And their idea, like, sales is about trying to get that conversion, to show the initial value and to bring you in as a customer. Support is about helping you when you have a problem. Customer success is about really helping you after you're a customer understand all what the product can do and to help your company be successful with it. To basically say, here's what other landscaping companies are doing that we've seen really working, that kind of thing. And so all of those different, that's probably includes about 20 total people, are just talking regularly in communication with prospects, customers, and customers that are having issues. And so we feel really, and then I end up talking to people, like, they'll set up little calls and stuff like that. So I feel really informed about what people want and what problems there are. And I think, so that's the main way. And then again, my sort of main way was the fact, well, I can talk to my family, they're doing the roofing thing. And so they experience stuff, but a lot of it is just going to different events. Go to a roofing event, I talk to roofers. I go to a landscaping event, and it is a lot of the same stuff, but I feel like I learned something at every one of these.
That's great. And where do you see the company going? I mean, I'm not sure what your presence is right now, whether it's just the US, whether it's US and Canada, whether you're across the world now, but where do you see your company in the next 5, 10 years?
We are mainly the US is it. We have a lot of customers in Australia, like maybe a baker's dozen in Israel, Ireland, England, Scotland. We're like lightly spread through there. It's mainly the English speaking world is where. Canada, we have a ton. We do very well in roofing and restoration. Next is probably landscaping, which we are just sort of, in the last maybe year to 18 months, we're leaning more into. We think of it not as much as trying to expand the geography, because our customers are very geographically dispersed, though maybe at some point that'll be a focus. Right now, it's much more about, how do we explain the value and sell electricians or landscapers, or like all these 40, 50 trades that, again, have a very shared set of problems that we think we solve, but that just aren't the same. You don't reach them the same way. We're not going to have a lot of electricians probably listening to the Commercial Landscapers podcast, maybe, but so we're trying to more expand via industries and via channels. And so really our focus right now is on what I would call product-led growth. And the idea behind product-led growth, it's very much kind of a software term, but that the use of your product generates its own growth. So the classic example is like a social network like Facebook. You want to get on Facebook, they would try to get you to invite other people. And every time you invite someone, that creates a little more value for you, because more people that are on there. And before long, everyone invites everyone. Those are some real network effects, but that's kind of the product being its own growth mechanism. Now for us, we really started out as a kind of a slick camera app that would auto-organize the photos you took to the right project. And then you could comment on them and kind of have conversations in the context of that project. And they're really easy to find. So if you ever needed to look back 2 years, it was like, really easy to do. Um, we are now we're now doing several different things, which are what our customers want, like the ability to create a checklist or a task list, that you can, a punch list that you can easily connect photos to. Like it could be do these 10 things and take these photos, or take a photo of this, take a photo of this. But the idea that you can do that and assign them to someone at your organization or someone outside of your organization, that's an opportunity for growth that you don't have to pay for, right? That it's really finding the spot of what our customers want to do, and what helps us grow, and then kind of prioritizing intelligently there. What I'm the most excited about right now is what we call project showcases. So it's kind of like a widget. You can put it on your website. It looks like just a section on your homepage, but what it allows you to do is take the photo timelines from any project, and you answer 2 questions. What type of project is this, and what products did you use? And bam, it will post that to your website in it kind of looks like Airbnb, where you can like see these different projects and you can interact with them, look down at the photos and stuff. And so, it could be, you could categorize them by like, was this hardscaping? Was this landscaping? I don't know all the terms. Or maybe we use these types of plants, and then your customer can go to your website. They can see all, like, it's really easy and fast to share this stuff there. And then they can sort through it, look through it however they want. And the idea is that it makes you look really good, and it helps make the content that you're already capturing in the field more valuable. So we want to make the photos, the notes, the videos that you're taking, we want to help you use those in communication. We want to help you have good internal accountability. But now we're trying to put them to work so that you can grow. And this is kind of the first step in that direction. And I see a lot of opportunity of saying, that's what I got another 30 seconds here. This content that contractors are capturing in the field is an asset, and they don't often have the means to really get the value out of it. Like how hard it's hard. I'm pretty tech savvy, and I don't even know how to update our website with some photo gallery.
Right.
Like it's really hard to effectively share this stuff, and it's time consuming. So when you have actual work to do, doing this stuff kind of falls by the wayside. And we're trying to say, okay, if we are the stewards of the photos, videos, and the stuff you're capturing in the field, how can we make that stuff as valuable to you as possible? And so we're constantly looking for ways to do that. And the newest one is really helping you publish it, share it to your website, and then from there, share it to social media, share it around, and really just show off that you do great work and try to build trust with your customer.
No, I love that. And what that does actually, it reminds me of, I used to send my crews out to different properties, and yes, we're responsible for all the landscaping in that property. But I used to encourage my guys to report back any other issues they saw. If they saw a light out, if they saw graffiti, if they saw some other damage to the building, so I almost see that being super valuable.
Ooh,
because more and more property managers are given more and more properties. So for them to actually take the time to go out and visit them is getting less and less. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they have 60 properties that they try and manage in the whole Southeast. So they only get to them physically every quarter. So if they had some steward out there at the property looking after all of their assets per se, I could see that being super valuable.
And the one thing we've found in the especially the commercial landscaping space is that that making the sharing of information incredibly easy. So one thing you can do is you can share what we call the project timeline. It's just you can send a link to someone, text it to them, email it to them, and as you take photos of that project, it'll just live update for them over there. And so when, for example, with routine maintenance, like you're gonna go mow weekly, or just the different maintenance, being able to tell that property manager, you don't actually have to go there. All you need to do is click on this link, and you can see that latest updates, and you can see the on the ground state of that without you having to ask someone, drive over there, anything like that. It's just you have this information. It's kind of around this idea of we're transparent. We're showing you what it is. And our core mission as a company is to create value through truth and transparency. And that's what we see this capturing this information in the field is the truth. It's there.
Can't
We
hide
know
from
the
it.
GPS coordinates. Yeah, exactly. And so it really does drive up that accountability. Like quick story. When we first implemented this, one thing that was really surprising, or I said I didn't expect it, was, when you do a roofing project, you probably don't know what it looks like a really nice plumbing flashing looks like when it's installed just right. Because you're not a roofer, well, I do. And the other guys on our other crews do. And so they might not really care or take the time because they know the homeowner's not maybe going to see it as well or whatever. But when they know that everyone at our company is going to can look at that and can see the quality of work that they're doing, we kind of had people almost like making fun of each other, like, hey, nice job cutting that, like the first day, or, and it's like, but no one wants to be the person in there getting a hard time from someone. And there's kind of a pride in when you bring light to all the work that's getting done, in seeing people care more about it, or they feel more accountable to it because they know that it will be seen. A lot of companies right now that are doing a good job of documenting, that's going straight into some folder. You never will see that unless you have a problem and you go looking for it.
That's true.
And so we give them like a feed, almost like a Facebook feed, but like we call it the project feed, where any given project, photos are coming in and you can just swipe like horizontally, like see these galleries and you can see all the latest photos. And oftentimes it's a way to kind of catch if there's something going wrong or something to be concerned about. But that bringing things that would have been either hidden or like inaccessible, putting them in front of people caused us to do dramatically higher quality work on average. And it wasn't from any active management. It was just from the fact that no one wants to be the person getting made fun of for doing a half-assed job.
I like that. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it totally makes sense. Last thing they want to do is to get ribbed by, one of their other colleagues for doing shoddy work. So
exactly.
Well, I was thinking about that. When you're dealing with like HOAs, I would imagine you're sending the photographs to the property manager, but a lot of the time they want to then share that to the actual community as well, all the homeowners. So it's a good way for them to be transparent, improve that communication without sending emails and going back and forward. So yeah, I could see multiple applications with this. So we're getting close to the time here. Look, how do people find out about you, find out about more your product, your company? What's the best way for them to do that?
Absolutely. So our app is called CompanyCam. CompanyCam. It's all one word. So you look in the app store, any app store, you'll find it. I see that Jordan, one of our marketing guys up here, sent me a link, and he said we created a special link for this podcast. It's companycam.com/landscapers. And he said there is a deal. There's a special deal on that page for anyone that's listening to this that goes to companycam.com/landscapers. So I don't know what that deal is, but I know that it's special because Jordan told me it is. So there is a deal on that page. But the bottom line is CompanyCam, it's 2-week free trial, but then we have like a free version with which you maybe can't create some of the photo reports and some of the other nifty stuff that you can do in the pro version. But it's up to 3 users, up to 50 projects. You can just do for free. You'll keep it forever. We're never going to lock you out. And so there's no risk in trying it. So if anyone's interested, I'd say go take a look. And there's just a bunch of really exciting stuff, like with the showcases and this stuff that's coming out in the next month or two here. So yeah, it's companycam.com/landscapers.
Cool. And then I also know on the Commercial Landscapers podcast website, we also have that link. We have information about your company. We appreciate you as a sponsor. And I'm excited where you're taking this company. So nice job, Luke. It's been awesome to hear about it.
I appreciate it, Robert. Thank you very much. This was a lot of fun to do. I think you're doing a great job with this podcast.
No, thank you, and great job. I think your products. I got a demo a week or two ago, and I could just instantly see all these different applications where you can start using it. So good job in your journey. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today, and we've got some great takeaways for your business and your personal life. This is Robert Clinkenbeard along with David Anderson, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us on our journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, thecommerciallandscaper.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends, but more importantly, check out our sponsors. We have Site Recon, who are going to help to capture measurements on your property and create a really streamlined process. And we have CompanyCam, who make it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field, no matter where you are. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.